What's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. Today on TV Talk, we will have special guest and James Bond expert, a Mr. Troy Beverly, joining me and Chet to talk about the very first James Bond film, Dr. No. This will kick off our brand new podcast series that we are titling The Bondcast. In the Bondcast, we're going to cover every single James Bond movie produced by Eon Productions, gearing up for the new movie SPECTRE coming out this November. As always, I'm your announcer dude, Lucas, and you are tuned into the Electra-Lounge.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 001 Bondcast, reviewing the first movie, Dr. No.
That was great.
He's got a serious NPR voice. That's what I respect about it.
I think for doing these podcasts, I always had the idea. I've been listening to a lot of NPR personally, so it's always been in the back of my mind. Let's get a little bit of an NPR vibe going.
If we could find that guy.
I had no idea it would come from Troy Beverly.
Never.
Troy Beverly, ladies and gentlemen. By the way,
introducing the one and only.
One and only. Troy, how are you?
I am good, sir.
Troy, me and Chet have been Bond fans for the past, together for the past
57 years.
57 years. I think Troy's right.
Yeah.
I think
since we were 14. Yeah.
Since we were 14.
It's been round about 57.
And yeah, I mean, we've always it's been a bonding point for us. I've been watching Bond films.
No
personally.
pun intended.
No, I didn't even.
That's good. When you do it without even meaning to, that's when you know you're ready to record. Which I guess is convenient.
That's what's up
for what's happening.
But anyways, I've been watching Bond films since a kid. I mean, my dad showed me probably. Most guys,
same.
I'm sure y'all the same.
Same, definitely.
Since I was like 5 or 6, just been watching Bond films.
It was always just it was like a male. You get together with your dad, watch a dude kick people's ass,
destroy
as it
and
were.
Be classy as hell. Yeah.
That's the thing. It taught you to be a man.
When did you start, Troy?
Among men.
How old would you say you were?
The first
Bond film.
I believe I was in middle school at the time.
So anywhere probably 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
Probably.
So what's that, 11 or something like that?
11, 12. That's when I got into it, certainly.
Yeah.
I remember, I was 11 or 12, and I was like, for my birthday, I was like, let's go see Die Another Day in theaters, because that movie was awesome. And that's what we did. It was like me and 6 or 7 of my friends and my parents, and my parents are crazy. They did birthday parties like that. Yeah, we'll just take Luke's friends to the theater, and
right.
We're like, yeah, show up at the house, drop them off.
You don't have to get a large number of young
weird.
adults.
I feel like if that party happened today, you would expect the parents to bring the kids to the theater. But my parents were just like, nah, they'll spend the night. We'll go to the theater.
Just let them,
yeah,
let them run amok. So, ruin a lot of theater employees' days.
Oh yeah, but that's neither here nor there again.
Lots of that. So anyway, just basic introduction to us talking about Bond films, which I guess this will be a series of.
Yes, we're oh man, water went down the wrong pipe. You don't want that on a podcast.
But it happened.
We're going to be doing a review of probably mostly one film at a time. Troy here doesn't live in the town we live in, so he can't make it out all the time for our weekly podcast. So we're going to be doing a little.
Yeah, this will be
This will be our thing with Troy.
The every other.
Right, it'll
the
be
every other whatever.
Every other, maybe we'll do 1 or 2 movies at a time, and.
No, we should stick it to 1 at a time. So
well, we can record 2 in a day.
This time we're right. As apropos, starting with the film Dr. No, the first one they did,
and we are going to be leading up to the premiere of SPECTRE in November, which I'm personally very excited about. I mean, we can save this conversation for later, but let's just at some point talk about Christoph Waltz, because you know me, I am the Christoph Waltz fanboy, and I'm not. I would wear a shirt with just that man's face.
It's a shame they don't have that shirt, honestly.
It's out there.
There's got to be.
But, anyways, Dr. No, Troy, just lay some thoughts down. How do you feel?
Give us a basic premise of the film.
You started the podcast. Let's have you starting out your opinions on the film. Just some initial, before we get into details.
Well, I thought it was a pretty good start off for the Bond series. The music was done well. the settings were done well, and the first villain being a dude with robotic hands, and
Yes.
Right, that's true.
that was pretty awesome.
I had totally forgotten about that till tonight.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of things you forget
That
about
was-
from
yeah.
14 to 22.
yeah,
It looks like it's just metal gloves, but it is actually cybernetic hands because his hands got decayed from radioactivity.
this movie, it was a good, I mean, it laid the groundwork for like not only every other Bond movie,
Right.
and that has stayed with the franchise for decades. I mean, until today, we're still using things that came in Doctor No,
Right.
the first try.
There's a lot of stuff like in the intro, especially for me, like a person
The
who's
song,
the song alone.
the song.
I mean, it's a
alone.
lot, swingier and 60s-er
Yeah.
and retro, but I mean, it laid the intro alone. The opening shot where it shows the
Right.
down the barrel.
The shot was
Right.
in Doctor No.
No,
ladies and
it's
gentlemen.
everything that
If
you
did not
see
know.
in any James Bond movie that's modern. It was done in the very first one. They just it's so classic and respectable that they continue to do it in every one of them.
So that's a very good point, and I completely agree with that point, Troy. That movie definitely did that.
Yeah, it's a perfect foundation
But
for a
even
series.
like the tone, like just the way things felt, the way villains presented themselves, was copied in spy movies like till today.
Oh,
even.
yeah,
like,
not even
is
just
the premise
James Bond.
not just James Bond, but
Right.
also spy movies in general. Like
True.
that was laid out at a very early time, which is pretty cool. Well, is Sean Connery? For the viewers who don't know, if you're new to Bond, we'll fill you in on the little tidbits.
Although it'd be
you
a weird,
should know.
it'd
If
be a
you're not new
weird-
to Bond and you don't know this,
it'd be a weird podcast to start on, or to listen to in general.
it
if you
would.
don't,
But we are starting from the first one, so if you're really just wanting to, go through the
Get
Bond
into
movies
Bond,
and watch them, and like the guys talking about them, and we know a little bit of background information. We've been studying up a little bit.
as you would.
Maybe it's a good one if you're really just wanting to dive into the world of James Bond. But even then, you should probably know that Sean Connery was the first James Bond, the first official.
Right.
There was,
and it was
there
not,
was a straight to television movie before this, but no one really talks about it.
It was not a stroke of choice or chance that Connery ran into the role after background.
They did run into several people they wanted to do, including Roger Moore, who would later become Bond.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
But he was busy on television series at the time.
He was.
But they felt
pretty cool,
Connery
I think.
really fit the role from the book and the strips.
Connery is just like, in this movie, he's just so
Oh, he just personifies
so
a role.
freaking cool, man. Like
Yeah.
that is like when I'm trying to be cool as a person, and we all do. I mean, we all do. Don't lie to yourself. Like everyone tries to be cool from time to time, and like think about what you're doing, and that's it. That's what's in my head is just Seanry.
Yeah.
Seanry. Oh,
Anyway, they picked him because they felt he personified the role of Bond from the book, and I think he definitely nailed it.
yeah.
Just
definitely.
without question,
Without
nailed
a
it.
doubt.
He was born to play it.
That's the truth.
And
That's
he set a standard because for me, honestly, when I think because I've only seen 2 Bonds come and go, but I feel like all the Bonds after him are measured completely or solely by Sean Connery.
Or if they're not,
So for me, Sean Connery is James Bond, and he sets that up. Again with all the other stuff, sets that up for a series in the first one.
and if a Bond ever comes around and he's not doing that, that's going to be it'll be not only obvious, but that'll be like, dude. And I won't even be saying it to him because he doesn't know better. Like the casters, like you're not. Come on,
Yeah.
come on.
All right, so Troy, give us a premise of the film, how it starts, what goes through, what happens, what goes on.
Go over that.
All right, so an MI6 agent ends up dead along with his assistant, and it's all for the mysterious character of Jamaica, Dr. No, to get rid of the info that they have on him, and that leads for the MI6 to lead an investigation and sends James Bond. And then,
Which is bad news for Dr. No, or whoever might be behind these alleged.
Indeed. And
It's such a good voice, man.
It's that NPR voice that you want, that
my
everyone wished they heard.
But continue.
So, anyway, it eventually leads to him going to the island that Dr. No owns.
Right.
Crab Key?
Yeah, Crab Key Island.
Yeah. Got it.
And he is using radioactivity to, I think it was, shoot into an array that would send rockets strafing off from their flight pattern that was launching from the Americans.
I believe that's right. I remember reading about that, but I was like watching the movie at the same time.
Right.
So I was like a little confused about the plot line. I missed out on the actual plot line there.
I guess later,
because I was doing both things.
Yeah, I guess later on they were going to like send notice to the Americans to get their extortion money, since that is part of Spectre's name.
Yes. I have their name. SPECTRE, ladies and gentlemen, is the criminal mastermind genius group that in a lot of James Bond films, if not most of the early ones, that has basically a bunch of criminal mastermind geniuses that do terrible, evil things. And their name stands for Special Executive for Counterintelligence, Terrorism, Revenge, and Extortion.
Yes, so
Boom.
They were doing it for
there's a bit of knowledge for the...
I had that saved. That was not memorized, I wish.
Yeah,
not on that level
there's
yet.
There's a page you brought up.
Yeah, I have a whole page of things that, let's keep things
He
flowing.
switched from what it was.
I'll admit it.
That's true.
As long as I'm reading.
There's a level of
I
humbleness.
have notes. They're very short, I would say, for the most part.
But anywho, so he's got this plant for doing what, Troy?
Yes, he's got a plant that's disguised as a bauxite mine, and it is housing his radioactivity area that he beams into the array that pops out of the plant, and it's supposed to send the missiles that are being launched from the Americans astray, and I guess later on they were going to send their extortion note and all that.
Yeah, to the Americans.
So, are we to the point where he gets to the island?
Yeah.
He's at the island, and then he's captured.
Yeah.
Which is a very big theme that they, in James Bond films, that they exploit heavily in Austin Powers, which is always hilarious. They have him. He even, in this one, he gives him a room. He's like, come to dinner. And then he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you now.
Oh, yeah. It's what they do almost in every one of them.
You probably know, even if you don't know James Bond, you're like, oh, yeah, that's the typical villain thing. Started with James Bond.
It's different. It started with Dr. No.
Yeah, started with Dr. No.
And also, right on the first movie, they try to bring in like the notion of a mythical creature known as the dragon, but it was actually just a tank of some kind disguised as one with the flamethrower nozzles, and that is how that they captured him. Burned one of the agents alive.
Destroyed him, and it shocked me.
I feel like they do a lot in Bond films. They'll take an idea that's supposed to be a huge like mythical notion or whatever, and personify it, and really just humble it.
Yeah.
Although it was very hilarious because a few scenes before that there was the tank tracks and the lead actress who is playing the Bond girl.
I'll tell you her name. Hold on. She plays, of course, the beautiful Honey Rider, which was called originally it was Honey Chile Rider in the books, which is weird. It was like honey and then the word Chile, I think.
That's what they
and then they shortened
to add like a location.
Played by
Ursula Andress.
He doesn't have the notes, ladies and gentlemen, and Troy knows this by heart.
But anyway, she sees the tank tracks, and it's like, those are dragon tracks.
That was so good.
Yeah, well,
it was a great scene.
The thing is, one has to ask themselves what kind of a track would a dragon create, and it
probably
would
not
have to
tank
be
tracks.
Probably nothing even close to tank tracks. But
so I went upon it on myself.
A dragon would make tracks
this,
of some sort.
I did it upon myself to create a photo of tank tracks and say, look, dragon track. And we're going to post that. Y'all have access to it.
Yeah.
Podcasters. We're good.
You're fine. It's good that your computer has apps.
But anyway.
Because computers should...
Yeah. Anyway, they do get captured by the men that are riding the dragon tank. And then they get washed off from the radiation, put into their little nice luxury prison rooms. And then they meet up with Dr. No for dinner And then he takes the girl away, shackles her in a room, and then puts Bond in a regular prison room.
Which is a mistake, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't put James Bond, nay, Sean Connery, really, in a prison room.
No matter what film Connery's in, he's going to break out of that. Also, Bond will. So the combination of the two is dangerous. So don't do that.
Especially,
but Dr. No didn't know that at the time. Because
it was the first
It's
movie.
a setting of a precedent. It's a setting of it.
Movie.
Right.
And then Troy.
And especially with the notion of the huge grate that is in his room, that when you kick it open, it enters into the giant manhole air vents and water pipes.
He's not squeezing through these vents, guys.
No.
He's just like...
It's a pretty
it's
comfortable...
a child's play place, I would say.
It's
just
a pretty comfortable... If you've ever been to a...
McDonald's.
A McDonald's, with the
Some Burger Kings, I believe, used to. I want to say.
Hopefully you haven't recently, if you're listening to this.
An occasional Chick-fil-A.
But, but
or if you're the appropriate age.
Another guy could have been on top of Sean Connery.
But the thing is... the thing is... His escape from this room is through this quote-unquote vent / pipe / summer, slide in a water park. But he's crawling through it, man-sized, supposedly uncomfortable.
Like standing up at points, I think. Maybe
that's
an exaggeration.
He's on his belly.
Yeah, but at points I think it's like a good...
It's an air vent / water tube, and he's crawling through. He's been beaten. He's bleeding in his side.
Yeah.
That was sad. It was disturbing.
You don't want
to see Sean Connery with
bleeding,
it.
right.
You don't want to see that. It was a little much, I would say. But you know what? He doesn't lose his cool in 1 second of it. Not 1 second in this movie does Sean Connery lose his cool.
Never concern yourself with Connery losing his cool. Kind of what he's about. But he's crawling through this pipe to.
We haven't got to the best part about this whole journey.
The day. There's like this control. There's a control room where Dr. No. There's so much.
Not yet. There's something even better to mention. When he's in the pipe, the ocean, like what's presumably the ocean, because this base is like somewhat underwater at points.
Yeah.
Is coming through the vents, and he's having like hold on, struggle through all this like salt water hit him.
I don't. That's not the ocean. That's just that seemed like a regular function of the building.
I think it was kind of foamy. Like it was a little. Yeah, it was a regular function to have the ocean water come through.
It might have been a filtering.
The consistency of the water isn't what's important here. It was like the amount of water where Sean had to hold down and just get a blast
be one with the tube,
right? And just get a blast. Two blast actually. Correct, Troy? 2 blasts, I believe. Indeed. Troy's the mastermind here. That's he's the guy with the facts. He doesn't need a list. So that's why I'll be coming back to him with those types of things.
Right.
But anyways, 2 blasts, and then he continues through the pipe, and he gets out, just breaking out into a hallway, seemingly the same tube on the same level. There are just people in a hallway just getting blasted. That's why I like to think salt water.
Yeah,
just getting blasted with ocean water. If you're just if you happen to be walking by at like 413,
don't walk down that hallway at 413.
Indeed, the layout
in the side of the head.
Indeed, the inner layout of his facility was questioning.
At best.
Rough.
At best.
I would say rough. I would give it a 1 out of 3. A rough 1 out of 3. No, 1 out of 4 even. Just not a good layout. Those are the layout scores.
A very cheesy 60s, not thought out.
If you're doing a villain layout, it's on a scale of 1 to 3 or 4. And
it's what they make fun of.
And the layout of the control room was very stereotypical too.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about the control room. Preach the word about the control room, Troy.
Indeed, had those giant, almost bubble-like suits for the nozzles.
It was just like if you've ever seen a bag that a comforter comes in.
It was like this. It was like a bunch of bubble men.
Right.
Bubble Boy.
Yeah. Like
Bubble Boy grew up and they started a cult.
They zipped themselves up in the comforter bags, which with a small hole in the bottom. And they're which presumably they're wearing because the radioactivity in this room is so extreme to where a human just couldn't
Might
hang
I
out.
say, one guy looks like he literally has an air pump inside of his suit to keep it like it is bursting at the seams.
Yeah,
Well,
and
he had
the
emphysema,
one
so-
with the air pump, his suit basically just looked like they covered him with a garbage bag and then just closed it up
Yeah.
with.
He got some Glade bags and just got covered in that, and that was the scene. He just had his street clothes underneath it, and
And the machine.
anyways, so they had these four large just crank wheels and screens set up for the different levels of danger. They had one all the way to the left for it was just called a danger level.
That was the.
They had a
Well, there was they were labeled like normally. You had like as
in any.
I think there was even a
scientific lab.
radiation level or heat level.
Yeah.
Different
coolant
and then
for coolant.
Tell us, Troy.
Yeah, there was like coolant, radiation, and various others.
But the one
But-
was.
But the main one, the one that cranked up the radiation.
Just had a
Well, we
wheel.
suppose
Oh,
we
we-
don't call
yeah.
it radiation anymore after this scene because
Yeah, because there was a big old marker saying danger level at
That's what it
number
was.
at number 25 on this number count. Like
no,
if
no,
it goes to
25.
25 radiation, I believe
they had a
it was
specific
danger.
They had a specific way back in this level of or a specific place in time to measure the radiation as it pertained to
the
danger.
Like it's not it's an objective term. It's danger
Right.
at this point. It's units of
Of
danger.
yeah. It's no longer what you consider to be anything
well, we've
that's
done the
bad
math.
to you.
We've done the math, boys, and we've decided that around 10 kilograms of radiation equals 5
that
units
much
of danger.
to you.
5 units of
specifically.
danger can cause burns on the hands,
Right.
fatigue in the eyes.
But if you smoke a cigarette, it would if you drink
One
Roma
puff of
wine.
a cigarette with Roma wine. Get your Roma wine at your local Walgreens today. I don't know if Walgreens is
L&M cigarette. But
Ad
anyway,
placement.
anyway,
Ad placement jokes. I don't know.
we digress.
We always are digressing.
We might do that a lot.
There might be over 30 digresses in this podcast.
That's probably more already, but
Maybe that should be
the main point is it's very campy. But before campy was a thing.
right.
It
So
created
it's-
campy.
Like even though we're hitting hard on it, we seriously love this movie. I think we all three say
absolutely.
like it is an incredible movie. The performance by Sean Connery is great. The performance by the guy who does Dr. No, while slightly racist, is great.
Right.
We'll talk about that later.
Very
It was
a little racist.
Very racist, actually. If we're talking in terms of today's cinema, real bad.
It's
but
just that-
we love the movie and the
Yeah.
corniness, the campiness. It makes it all that more better, even like because they improve upon this. Like today's Bond films don't have this level of just like silliness. And people at the time, I was reading today, people at the time even were like, I don't know if it's supposed to be funny or really awesome.
Right.
And I think it was kind of just making fun of the whole thing at the same time while saying, well, we're going to do some serious, this is a serious product. This is something you can
Right.
get into.
Well, I
There's
feel
a
like
lot of
I feel
levels.
like it could be either be that or it could be the fact that because the next film came out so soon that they had anticipated the success and
Right.
and the sequel, so they were trying to do these things so quickly.
That broccoli guy knew.
Yeah, Broccoli knew.
He knew.
So, which we'll get into more later.
Yeah.
Which we should have already touched on, but
Yeah.
they knew that this could be because they had been going after this specific character, Troy, for a specific number of years.
Wait,
Or months, at
who
least.
wrote James Bond originally? Troy.
Yeah, that's
Ian Fleming.
Ian Fleming.
Boom! The
Boom.
Fleming.
The
If you don't
Fleming.
know Bond, if you don't know Ian Fleming, you can't call yourself a true Bond fan.
That's
and now you
true.
can. We just taught that to you. You don't have to tell anyone about listening to
true.
this.
That's
That's the
true.
thing about that's
We
the reason
just
you
gave
should
you-
be. Ooh. But yeah, let's see. We've covered the basics. Like
Yes.
The
So
reoccurring
he
things.
he gets to this room.
Oh yeah, we haven't really finished the
he
story.
busts out in the vent, this comical vent, and he's in this room.
He kills a guy.
He
presumably
stages
kills a
he
guy and gets a
stages him.
suit.
Well,
He gets a balloon suit.
right. He stages himself as one of the scientists, quote unquote, working on this project, radiation suction project for Dr. No, or what you want to call him. This presumably Asian, but clearly
Not Asian.
Not Asian.
A white man that they put makeup on to look half Asian. Specifically half Asian.
He's a white guy that they wanted white people to think was Asian.
In his storyline in the movie, he was half Asian. Is that hard in 1962 to find a half Asian actor?
No, I feel like at the time they so specifically for some specifically racist and clearly just terribly not nice reason want to hire Asian actors, Asian American
actors. Even
it was a tender subject though, because
this was before. I know this from psychology. I'll just go ahead and put it out there.
And your Asian American
psychology specifically.
KSU.
But 1965 was the year. It was before that. You had a lot of pretty racist laws against immigration. And then that allowed, they were looking more at just potential people from any country. Like, as long as you went to, like, if you went to college. Or
it was
talents.
Some world wars were pretty recent at the time. So it wasn't ridiculous.
Well, also later on, we took a lot of refugees from Vietnam. And it needed to happen. But 1965, after that, the Asian American population did boom. So before that, it was a lot less than 6%. I don't know the actual percent of Asian Americans at the time, but today it is 6%, and it was not that 6%. Then. I would venture to say I would venture to say probably 1 or 2% back then. Like it has gone up drastically.
But anyway, we digress again.
Still racist though. Doesn't take away.
That's true. They purposely clearly didn't hire an Asian or an Asian American actor. From any of the Asian countries.
He did a great job. I mean, without a doubt, he was a good, solid Bond villain. But they did it to a girl too.
That's the third Bond girl. What's messed up is they couldn't hire one Asian.
No, she's not the third. She's actually the second. It happens before Honey Rider. But yeah, the second Bond girl, second girl he banged, was also American.
It's a shame Connery's.
I don't know if she's American. It's a shame.
It's a shame a single Connery accent hasn't busted out yet.
Oh wow, we haven't done it yet. But no, I'm okay
shingle.
A shingle. Well, because it's going to be so predominant in the next podcast.
All of them.
With
not
it.
even just next, like in the series.
Here on out.
Yeah.
Which we are, as I said before, we're leading up to SPECTRE in November. Before we finish the story, I want to hear everyone's thoughts on that movie specific, and starting with Troy, because he has some interesting opinions about Daniel Craig. I don't agree with them, but I respect them.
He's just not.
I respect his opinions.
What I want a Bond to be.
Well, let's hear from Troy first, and then we can get into the Daniel Craig debate, I think, and then we can finish the movie. It's not, like, super dire. It's expected what happens at the end. James Bond wins. Spoiler.
Indeed. Spoiler as Chet said, it's not what my idea of a Bond would be. But, of course, as you have pointed out, this is the beginning. They've revamped the series. This is the beginning. So this Bond is a little rougher. He's rougher around the edges. He hasn't gotten that smooth style and everything.
Absolutely. Because when James Bond comes in Dr. No, I noticed it. Well, they're talking about, they're making him switch out his gun. His original gun was what, Troy?
A Beretta.
A Beretta. And then he, I'm terrible with gun names. I'm just like, I can't remember.
And it exchanges for a Walter PPK.
Right, which becomes the standard Bond gun.
Yeah, he uses until...
We think till this day? We're not sure if Craig doesn't?
No, he uses until till Pierce.
Right, Pierce changes it up.
I think the gun that Pierce did is the Walter P2K.
We think that.
Just to reboot it to a more modern... what they used at the time, because they felt it would be a good shout-out.
Right. But anyways, when he's exchanging that gun, because that original gun was used in the novels. That's why they had it, and that's why they switched it out, because it's not really a realistic gun that a spy would use. It's small, and you can hide it anywhere, but it's not going to do much damage. It's not good at aiming. If he's going to be like the smooth, cool spy, he needs this new one.
Yeah, he's PPK.
Basically.
The PPK, and, which is it's,
from what I hear, is a great gun.
Yeah, it's more sleek.
It's very sleek gun. It's a cool looking gun.
It's the LA Noir strap on the cop.
Yeah, like
the suspenders hiding your
Boom.
It's that gun. So it's more sleek. So they do a shout out
to that. And where I know that he's not new to the game, Bond, Sean Connery's Bond and Dr. No, is he says, well, I've been using that for 10 years. So hinting at he's been a spy for around 10 years. Right. Maybe he was a trainee at some point in there. But probably being in the field for a good 6-8 years.
It was normal detective work.
But he wasn't a rusty, like Casino Royale, Daniel Craig coming in, he just got his license to kill. That's the opening shot. He's killing people to get his license to kill.
Right. Indeed.
And it's a very different Bond, and in that terms, I think they chose him well. I'm not saying he's a great actor and trying to portray that, but they just chose a guy who.
Well, when I personally said that I didn't feel he was the Bond that I wanted to see, I meant even like physical appearance. Like I don't want to see a blonde,
I don't get hung up on that type of stuff.
No, I do personally. Because they were for Connery. They were for Connery,
right?
Because if you notice, Sean Connery looks shockingly similar to the comic strip they had before Sean Connery.
That's true. Well, was it before? I think they said it was before. I think the comics came out before the movie.
That's what he was based on.
Do you remember Troy?
Well, it's one of the reasons. It's like part of the criteria for picking Sean Connery.
Indeed, but the comic strips may have been portraying Bond in the years of experience.
Right, that too. So, well, I mean,
but we haven't read the comics, so we don't know.
Do I think he should have dyed his hair? Yeah, it's not that hard. But like, do I care that much? No. But anyways, back to the original question. That was a while ago. How do you feel about just the Spectre movie as a whole, Troy? Are you excited? We're about to get into it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say we're about to get into my fanboyism with some Christoph Waltz. But how do you feel about them announcing Christoph Waltz, the Jew hunter, or whatever his name was in Django, which I actually am saying.
Not Django.
Oh, he was good in Django.
Inglourious Bastards.
No, I'm saying I don't. He was the Jew hunter in Inglourious Bastards. Well, I don't know his actual name.
Well, you said,
but I can't remember his name. What I meant was I can't remember his name from Django. He's in both. Won an Academy Award for both.
Yeah,
awesome roles both. How do you feel about him being? I guess they're not calling him Blofeld. I don't think. I'm not sure.
They probably will eventually.
That's what I'm like. But how do you feel about just that movie as a whole? That being announced, and have you seen the trailer?
Not yet.
Haven't seen the trailer.
It's
yet.
A good trailer. Because it's ominous.
Yeah,
and it ends with
ominous.
With Waltz, saying.
Yeah,
giving the line. Well, yeah. You can tell it's obviously Christoph Waltz. Yeah, you get the chills. He says, "Finally."
Chet didn't actually realize it was Christoph Waltz the first time. He was like, "Dude, I don't really know about that trailer." And I'm like,
the trailer.
Really?
I was like, the trailer seemed weak.
I was like, really? Because it gave me chills, man. I was like, at the end.
Once I realized it was Waltz,
he's like, "Wait, is that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he went back and watched it again, and he felt the same. So,
but yeah, you should definitely check out the trailer, Troy. But
how do you feel about it? What you know about it? How do you feel? And do you want to see it?
Well, now that I am comfortable about the revamp, I mean, I was a little what's the word?
Like displeased?
Yeah, displeased that they tried to restart the series, but we are going into a new generation. There's new generations being born, and the ones that are like basically in elementary school or middle school, that when I'm like way out of high school, it's like they ain't gonna see these old movies.
Exactly.
They're not interested in what went on in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Sadly, yes.
But it's the facts.
But I have gotten comfortable with this revamp, and to me, them bringing back the SPECTRE organization is brilliant.
Awesome, right?
It was a great evil organization, good set of evil guys for Bond to go after.
Yes.
And them getting Voss as presumably going to be the leader, Blofeld.
Yeah, well, I think they've announced his name as something else. I don't know. I'm getting my information from Wikipedia, so I'm not going to... We got a lot of bad information about Dr. No on Wikipedia, by the way, people.
But regardless,
don't go to Wikipedia for specifically Dr. No information, because you'll get misled.
Regardless if he's Blofeld or not, he's going to at least be one of the top SPECTRE agents, and that to me is great, because he was wonderful as the Jew hunter in Inglourious Bastards.
We all saw that together. That's 3.
Oh yeah,
yes.
That's true.
Oh my gosh,
he was a great bad guy.
Let me say, we all 3 got up and started clapping at the end of Inglourious Bastards when it went to directed by Quentin Tarantino. All 3 of us, I think, at the same time, without any delay,
or corroboration.
It deserved an applause.
Is in that movie. Yeah, he made his career.
I mean, the movie's great. Everyone's terrific, but he blows away everything
Waltz,
to me.
Definite, just perfect villain. Well, just perfect actor.
Yeah.
He personifies anything, any like idea that I guess you could put on paper for him to read, because
I would put that man as like, what's a random ass movie you could remake that you're like, oh, that would. Like, okay, I will even say it like The Cosby Show. Let's make a Cosby Show movie, but the dad's white, and it's like a weird, she married him thing.
If I'd put,
I would
just because I saw on Facebook,
not him acting like Bill Cosby, but filling those lines.
Yeah, just because I saw on Facebook that they're revamping Full House. I'd put him at every character of Full House.
Oh my god, you could have a show full Christoph Waltz.
Oh, Christoph Waltz,
and it's just. He plays the baby twins. We bring back the twins. They're babies still.
No Mary-Kate and Ashley, because we don't.
It's just
need
him making
anymore.
facial expressions,
right?
And then when he gets the toddler, he acts like. I mean, it's all CGI, so it looks cool, but with his head, obviously,
over it.
Different levels of like hair. I mean, I would watch that show. That's my family level.
Of Christoph Waltz. Anyways, the point is, we like Christoph Waltz, so we're all excited. Well, we all excited
Waltz.
on a united front of Christoph Waltz being the villain.
Yes,
clearly in the next Spectre film, which it's in November, which we're again leading up to with all of the these I'm sorry, Bondcasts that we're going to be doing, and so have we finished the overall premise of the film yet? Have we gotten to that?
I do believe. I mean, we may have skipped over the beginning, but that was like him trying to figure out who's doing what's going on. Who is this Dr. No? But the ending part was like the very important part where he meets the first Spectre agent, Dr. No,
right,
and eliminates him. Stops his plan. And that was the end.
Which, spoiler alert, is a reoccurring theme in all the Bond films, where all these geniuses, as it were, these Spectre agents, think they have a plan for world domination, and a certain 007 comes in and foils those plans. And so yeah, he comes in and meets the first Spectre agent, which again sets a precedent, for all of these great films to come out afterwards.
I think every bad guy after that, to my knowledge, is in Spectre. For Sean at least.
Definitely for Sean Connery.
Don't hold me to that, but I believe. Do you know, Troy?
Goldfinger was not a Spectre agent.
Really? I would have never I would have lost that question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
He just wanted to get his.
That's cool though.
Yeah, and then
still a great film. A great film. One of my favorite Connerys.
And I know the last one. The last guy wasn't Spectre because he was just former MI6.
Yeah, it was just one or two Connery films where there was not Spectre,
and then the rest are.
Yeah,
but the last one definitely, right? The former MI6 guy.
The Diamonds Are Forever, because there's kind of two last genre.
No, actually, the last one that came out.
Diamonds.
Skyfall.
Oh yeah. I don't know, because they've been hinting at a secret organization since Casino Royale.
That's true.
Actually, Diamonds Are Forever. That was when Blofeld was presented with hair.
With hair, ladies.
And a clone.
Blofeld usually looks like Dr. Evil from the Austin Powers films, if you've seen them and not seen the James Bond with Blofeld. And he's usually bald and has the scar. It's
the teary scar.
It's kind of if I would have saw that, not having seen very many villain films before, that'd shake me a little. He was, and he pet the cat. Everyone makes fun of the cat petting now, but that's pretty menacing. Just
it's a nerve-wracking thing, because
dude calling the shots.
Yeah, but also has that sensitive, personal to him, but would you up.
Yeah, he doesn't care about anyone else but the cat.
Right. That's the only the thing, like his soul is you can see is his cat.
You can die from piranhas, dude.
But he has a lot of capable emotions to just murder you without loss of sleep.
That guy.
So this guy sets up not only a campy person to make fun of in future satire films such as Austin Powers over and over. But he's a genuine good counterpart to James Bond in the fact that he's everything that James Bond doesn't represent. He's an anti James Bond almost.
But they're both so calm.
Right. But
he's cool in his own way, Blofeld, I'd say. Would you agree with that, Troy? Like, he's got a kind of a coolness. I mean,
indeed.
You're not seeing him embarrass himself at any point, really.
Yeah.
You know,
he's very cunning, and he does show that if you screw up, you will die.
Right.
Every agent of his that has failed, he has killed in some obscene, weird way, but also badass.
Exactly. Without a doubt, badass. You can describe both of them with badass, cool,
and obscene.
Calm, and obscene. Yeah. James Bond is obscene in his own way.
Obscene in his own way. I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's here, guys, and it's staying.
That's
the Sean
both
voice
of our Connerys.
We're not saying we're incredible at it, but we're saying it's
going to happen a lot.
It's going to happen a lot, and we'll get better at it. I think like our high school level Sean Connery impressions were probably dead on,
yeah.
And maybe that was just because I had a little bit,
also
delusions of grandeur at 16. But I think no. I'm going to say. That I was doing a spot-on Connery voice back then.
Yeah, it was probably just specifically great.
Where are we?
Who knows?
I love this cast. This is going like everywhere, and every Bond direction we wanted it to, and I think it's good. If you're listening to this and you don't know Bond, you just learned a lot about Bond.
Right, that's true.
That's the whole freaking point, people.
And so this setup, we've reached the end of the film. He foils Dr. No's plans. Yep. And sets up this organization of evil, as it were, in SPECTRE, and they come out with another film the next year, which we'll cover in the
1963,
and
from Russia,
63 from Russia with Love, which is a huge play on. I'm assuming we'll touch on a lot more in the next the Cold War.
Yeah,
in America,
a lot of Cold War,
undertones there.
Clearly.
If you wanted to make a movie successful at the time,
it's a spy movie. It was the Cold War. I mean,
if you wanted to make a movie successful, and James Bond is involved, do the Cold War movie and skip over, and they skip over a lot of books there.
Let's finish it. Let's tell them what happens then, because it's awesome. Because Honey Rider is like kind of the Bond girl. And they escape in the nick of time. He escapes with the Bond girl.
Oh, this is true. Yeah. We did skip over this.
This in every movie, almost every. The only one I don't know that he actually doesn't have sex with he always has sex with at least one girl. But the one where he doesn't have sex with the Bond girl is Quantum of Solace, which we all agree is terrible. But neither here nor there. At the very end of Dr. No, he is seen making out with Honey Rider, and it is agreed upon amongst fans, because back then they didn't show the sex, it was just implied, but it was agreed that they boned. Not before, then after.
Right, but the thing is they're stranded after escaping this underwater quasi nuclear island. That Dr. No plant that Dr. No has, they escape this from both being quote unquote captured, and they're in the middle of the ocean on this speedboat, and they get saved by MI6 presumably.
It's Felix Leiter and his
not
American.
MI6, it's CIA. It's Felix.
Oh yeah, it is CIA. So yeah,
Felix Leiter,
the American.
In this one by Jack Lord. Troy says that's the last time Jack Lord plays Felix. You think?
I believe
we're not completely sure, but we think
He may star in one more, but
didn't have many lines, but I thought he was a terrific Felix.
No, yeah, it was a good. It was a good
solid Felix.
It was a good American counterpart to Bond.
Yeah, exactly. Just like
James Bond.
Indeed.
Yeah, you know, he
threw a lot of good sarcastic back and forth.
A lot, yeah, without a doubt. He played the role really well.
That's
he
right.
The part.
So yeah, they come to save the as it were stranded Bond and Honey Ryder. And after again,
Bond's
they don't,
not like, oh, we'll get on the boat with you.
Right? He says, you know, just tie our boat up to yours.
Yeah, just tie it up.
Tie it up so they can have the privacy ride, the luxury ride, as it were. And and as the movie fades into obscurity as it is, and the boat rides off, and what you think is to bring them to safety. They fall down to the bottom of the boat, which what becomes a premise in a lot of Bond films, just overtly sexual.
Oh yeah, just it's about to happen.
It's about to happen. Scene where they let the rope connecting the boat.
He does. I don't think she even.
No, she's like, it's cool. Yeah, she looks at it.
Yeah, she looks at him, but I mean, he's doing the
she looks at the rope leaving and says,
right. She's like, okay,
it becomes unconnected, so making the entire last. Conversation and scene pointless.
And so then he's banking her, and she's a babe. Ursula Andress, she was looking good.
Shout out to her parents naming.
Curvy.
Shout out to her parents naming her Ursula because good for you.
She's Swiss. Yeah, Swiss.
Swiss is an interesting.
That would be cooler, but no, they're the Swiss. She's from Switzerland. What a scale of 1 to 10, hotness. Everyone go. We need to do this for every Bond girl, obviously.
I would say 8.5.
Absolutely agree with Troy. That's incredible.
I would say if I see that chick, in a random everyday situation.
No, in the bikini, because that's how you see her first. In that just like famous moment recreated by Halle Berry later, ladies and gentlemen, in Die Another Day, which is
good on her.
Indeed,
which is good on her.
Which was nice and she looked,
good on her physically and
it was an orange bikini, whatever. I don't know why she didn't go for the white, same one, but whatever, it's fine. She didn't want it to be too obvious, I guess. Fine,
but a clear throwback. But I'd give her a good
on the beach. She's coming out of the water with the shells in her hand. Mind you,
a good 9, solid 9.
Yeah, I can respect that. Because I mean, she's curvy. She's just looking good.
She personified not only what hot was. Hot. That's whatever.
A nice
whatever attractive female wise was then, but also now because
it's kind of like a modern thing too. Yeah, and it's
but yeah,
she represented what beauty was.
Yeah, in
beauty or what have you.
She was looking good, without a doubt. And the other girls in it were looking good too. I'll even say it. Like they were for 60s style. Which
the unfortunate fake Asian.
Yeah, the unfortunate. She was hot though. We saw her without the makeup. I mean, she was still hot. Yeah, I don't know why they had to. They didn't even really need to make her fake Asian. She just could have been white. It wasn't going to really hurt anything.
Yeah.
She was related to Dr. No, and everyone related to Dr. No was either Asian or fake Asian.
So they had to.
No, besides his assistant, I think he was just white. Who is it? It's Professor. I have it in my notes. Give me a second, because we need to talk about that. Actually, that's the dark part I was mentioning earlier, which should be. Y'all can talk while I'm looking this up, by the way. Here we go.
No, there's no reason to talk while you're looking that up.
Professor Dent was like the guy that Dr. No was like. It was like they didn't say he's number 2, but kind of presumably like someone in charge of killing people. Clearly, guy. He sicked a tarantula on him at first.
Yeah. That was good.
And Bond killed that because he's Bond. And then he comes in. He comes into the room. Professor Dent comes into the room. And he has a revolver of some sort. Do you know what gun, Troy?
It wasn't a revolver. It was a regular handgun.
He says something about what it was, doesn't he?
It was a Smith & Wesson.
I know I can count on Troy for these things. That's just,
that's what we.
That's the true Bond fan, ladies and gentlemen.
It had a Smith & Wesson because he mentioned it. Also,
he can know that.
I mean, a revolver is a big jump.
I just saw the movie and I can't. Yeah, well, it was 6 shots. That's why it got me thinking revolver. Anyways, he comes in and he says. He shoots at him and he's like, you used your 6 shots up, man. And Bond's just sitting there because he had a fake version of him in the bed, and that's what he shot at.
Yep.
And Bond's just sitting in the corner, like, dude, you did, because he tries to shoot him, and he's like, dude, you just used your 6 shots up. And then he looks at the dude. There's a moment of silence, and then Bond in 1962 Sean Connery's Bond cold-bloodedly just kills this dude. This dude's not trying to do anything at that point. He's just stunned. Like, oh, God, I am screwed right here. And Bond just, boom.
Right. Which, yeah, at the time, they didn't do often. They didn't.
1962, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, he really emphasized his license to kill.
Right.
Exactly.
He got away with killing folks.
I mean, it was rightly found that this man had been trying to kill him, then would have killed him if had the opportunity. But still, it was pretty dark for a 1962 movie.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
So we've covered
a lot.
And we've covered the end of it.
And then
Troy, what's the one bit you discovered about kind of an odd thing, but it turns out is completely true, and we did a lot of research into it, and we know a lot about it. They filmed a different Dr. No. It had not only the movie, the character. And what was the original character?
Indeed. For the ridiculousness of this character, that's the reason why it got scrapped. Apparently, the first Dr. No was a monkey.
We laughed at first, and then we went on and we did the research, and it turns out they filmed this whole movie. The only in the new, they totally refilmed it. I'm not sure if Sean Connery was the original version. It was very different. It was a very different movie. Whole scenes were added to the new one and taken away from the old one. But not only was it a monkey, but there is a scene where, in the new one, the only remaining scene, I believe, where you see a monkey screeching after some birds, and that's actually Dr. No's cousin, who was also a big part. I think he was his main henchman or
Dr.
something.
No's cousin.
It was a weird. It had nothing to do with the novel, hardly ever. But
Indeed, in the scene where they are in the river and the guards are trying to find them, and the dogs are catching the scent, and then they get to the tree brush that Bond and all of them are hiding at, and when the dogs get close, the birds fly away, and then you hear the monkey screeching, and we do believe that may have been his cousin or one of the soldiers.
We're speculating. We don't actually know, but it's just kind of from our research we did. There was a cousin henchman, and it was around that time, and they had some scenes that were similar, and that's one of them.
But that was...
The verdict's still out. If anyone knows about that, comment, do your own podcast about it. Tell us what you know. It's pretty odd. It's a pretty odd happening. It would have been a whole different movie. I guess they're just going for a funny thing. From what I read, though, it seemed serious. Dr. No was seriously
a monkey who happened to have super...
And I guess they kept the mechanical hands. I can only speculate that they kept the mechanical
hands. It may have
hands.
been that due to radiation, the monkey might have become super intelligent and also got the ability to speak.
Yeah, and lost his hands and had to design.
That's
how Dr. No lost his hands, right? I think we discussed
Indeed.
That. Radiation.
and got his place in the SPECTRE.
That would have been a weird...
The only human SPECTRE agent. I mean, animal SPECTRE agent.
We talk about it in the other podcast, but we're very excited, obviously, for Grodd coming in Flash, which
Grodd.
I'm all for right now. I should know. I'm not the biggest Flash fan, but I like the show. As I've said many times. Well,
King Grodd.
On the last podcast, anyways. But that's cool. That's going to be cool, and he's a great villain. So maybe they were going for that type of thing.
Yeah, but I feel like small chimpanzee almost is not.
They did say monkey. They didn't say ape, which is concerning.
Less
formidable.
And
I mean, that whole movie is supposed to be out there. So, there's a guy just watching Dr. No as a monkey like every day. Like he has that. There's like one guy in the world who has it, and he can't give it to anyone. Maybe in its will, it's like let's give it to the world. Let's let everyone see.
And there might be a chance in the deep reaches of the internet there is a downloadable version. Oh, dude, that's what everybody wants to see.
We can only hope. Man.
And as long as Connery's still the main guy.
Yes.
But anyway, so we covered the first movie, Dr. No, and a long line of what we hope to do, a series of Bondcasts, as it were. And
next will be 002.
002
From Russia with Love.
Which comes out the very next year, which is unprecedented now, and modern Hollywood doesn't happen. The sequel coming out the next year. Also, movies and series of as many as the Bonds films have had, also unprecedented. But yeah. So the next one comes out. We'll do hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, hopefully sooner. Maybe even I'm on spring break. We might have Troy over next weekend. We'll see about it. We haven't discussed this yet, but if not,
this is us discussing it, ladies and gentlemen. You're hearing.
It's all live. But if not, we're gonna get it out there. And like we said, we want to finish all. I think 23. Is it 23 with Skyfall or is it 24 with Skyfall? I should know this. I should know this if I'm doing a Bondcast. I feel awful.
Well, sadly, I don't know how many it is.
The thing is, we don't.
Oh wow, we just all felt it. That's all right, guys. But we're gonna have. We're gonna have all of you. We're gonna have all of them by the time Spectre comes out in November.
So we have a good summer.
Because it
a good
has
summer full
been
of watching and sharing with you the series of Bond films that have come out. So again, this is our inaugural podcast / Bondcast.
All right, let's do before we end, let's do last thoughts. So last thought, just a quick little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Quick. It can be about Dr. No. It can be about From Russia with Love. It can just be starting with Troy.
Last thoughts. I gotta say, it was just a great start off to the whole Bond series.
It's true.
Agreed.
May have been a little odd in various places, like getting American actors to play Asian people, but
but again,
it happens.
Those are just some stuff I feel like they felt like they had to do.
Yeah, I mean,
based off the stereotypes, the hard stereotypes they had.
It happened, but it's still a great film.
The climate of.
But regardless of those, great start.
Absolutely, completely agree.
And I'd say that the movie, like Troy said, set a great. And as we covered, it set a great precedent. But I felt like what was more important is that even though they didn't, you mentioned obviously that there would be more Bonds beyond Connery, that it did set that specific precedent in that every Bond after him would have to set the standard from Dr. No. Dr. No set that Connery is Bond thing.
That Connery even was like, yeah, well, that worked. Let's do
right.
More of it.
So let's do that to to an extreme, and in the rest of them, right?
That was just it was a lot of standards set. I mean, acting, filming, yeah.
And that being said, my final thought is that Craig is.
Oh no, he's ending on Craig. Come on,
yeah, Craig. No, Craig for this. Craig not only for this next movie, but for all of them. It's just not. It's just not for me. A Connery Bond. And granted, in the last one, I did feel like it was a classical Sean Connery James Bond movie. And Craig did his best, Craig did his best, but he's done well considering the fact that he shouldn't have been chosen for the role. He's done well. And I give him props
the
for
filming is good. Like they get good directors.
Every aspect.
I don't know if it's different directors.
Every aspect of the revamp for me is great.
Right. Okay.
Especially concluding with the last movie being classical as it is. Except for the main choice of Daniel Craig as James Bond, which is a lot.
All right, man, we get it.
I don't think they do.
That's fair. All right, we're past Craig. He just went on a Craig rant. Troy, you missed. Troy's using the.
It was final thoughts, and I wanted
he just went on a Craig rant
that I don't love.
He doesn't love Craig. Troy didn't even go there, and Troy's a vocal anti-Craigist. Anyways, my final thoughts are: I think it's cool what we're doing here. I think if you're listening and you liked it, subscribe. I'm that asshole.
As many fake classes you
man,
anyone will subscribe.
If you don't subscribe, just listen to the next one. You're going to learn about Bond. Even stuff we don't know. We're gonna once we learn it, we're gonna bring it up. We do our research.
Right.
It's going to be fun. I'm very excited for Spectre. Craigness aside.
Craigness aside, which you shouldn't have to
and
say.
I'm most excited about reviewing the next few Connery films, honestly. Like the whole series is gonna be fun for me, but I'm so glad we start out with Connery.
I'm kind of bummed that it's such a gap between Connery and Pierce Brosnan, but we'll get through it.
We'll get to our problems with all of that sentence. My problems with all of that sentence later.
Through it.
But anyways, guys, this has been the Bondcast number 001. Actually, this is the first podcast we've ever recorded. We're going to make it seem like it's the second, but we recorded it first. Very late the night before our regular weekly stuff. We're going to have this going on, as we said, either weekly or bi-monthly. And, it's going to be a little filler for our other podcasts. But we hope you enjoy it and listen to it. And if you like Bond, awesome. If you don't, just watch Dr. No. It's time to do it. Everyone agree? Like, come on.
Absolutely.
Watch the movie. Watch the movies with us, and we'll have fun, and it'll be good. But y'all have a good night or day. Whenever you're listening to this, have a good rest of the time. Because I'm a polite man, and I want to wish you, the listener, a good day. Troy, any final thoughts? Because I think you brought this in. You got to end it. Yeah.
I think I pretty much cover my thoughts on the movie, but all of y'all may have a pleasant day and enjoy the rest of this podcast series.